Thanks a lot, Buffalo. Now you've eliminated any excuse anyone happens to have for not accomplishing something. Oh, you can't make the Western Conference Finals, Phoenix? Well, Buffalo just defeated Minnesota by 21 on the road, so yes, you can. Answer this SAT question. If Derek Carr had 91% completion percentage versus the Broncos defense, then what will Patrick Mahomes have? And no, 11 billion% is not the right answer. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is going to be a staff writer on the new Veronica Mars project. I just thought that was something everybody should know, that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with his 38,387 career points, his 19 All-Star appearances, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who made the Hall of Fame and has had a lifelong record of political activism and acting in movies and fighting Bruce Lee once, is now gonna write dialogue for all those times Veronica Mars got her purse stuck in gum.
Lovely.
I think WatchMojo has already made it into a top 10 list. Use promo code WTFootball on the SeatGeek app to get $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek has worked tirelessly to build the perfect app to buy tickets online. That's because SeatGeek puts a value on your seat, your time, and your experience. They also put a value on your kidneys and many other vital organs. SeatGeek, we value you. All of you. Welcome to What the Football. I'm your host, TJ Carpenter, and not homeless Jim Halpert. Although, I may be homeless soon if I don't get more views on this video. This week, Josh is going to tell us why Andy Reid should go into selling propane tanks if this football thing doesn't work out. He can set up shop in rural Oklahoma, right next to Jeff Fisher. Also, we play Rate That Meme. But first, top 10 stories of the week. Number 10. The Steelers beat the Bucs and Fitzmagic on Monday night, and somehow everybody still feels better about the Bucs than the Steelers. Maybe that's because their starting quarterback wasn't accused of groping women for the 10th time this week. Actually, Jameis Winston is coming back, so maybe that's not true. Anywho, this is even after Vance McDonald face-punched Chris Conte into oblivion. Also, I'm pretty sure that Antonio Brown is the wrong kind of anger that Jack Nicholson talked about in anger management. And one of these days, Ben Roethlisberger is just going to overthrow that guy, and that's going to be it. It's just going to be blood everywhere. It's also good to know that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to have work after football. How do you think that pitch meeting went? So, I've been having these nightmares about my hair consuming my body. Go on. Yeah, even my eyelids. It's like they get peeled back into my skull and the hair just goes everywhere. Look, pain is art. Use it. Well, you have to promise me that he's going to be uncomfortably happy at all times. We can do that. Number 3. This week, the Lions take on the Cowboys in a game that I expect to be more confusing and depressing than an episode of BoJack Horseman. Guys, I love your show, but you are asking a lot of your audience. Kind of like Jerry Jones, who is expecting Cowboys fans to accept a department store mannequin as their head coach. Or like Matt Patricia, who expects you to believe that he has a pencil behind his ear just in case he has to write upside down in a zero-gravity environment. And number 1, the Broncos have scheduled their execution for 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time Monday night. When the Chiefs are done with the Broncos, there's just going to be a skid mark where Mile High Stadium used to be. Asking the Broncos to beat the Chiefs is like asking a blobfish to kill an orca whale. Blobfish eat the poop of other fish to live. They cannot kill the apex predator of the sea. Unless, of course, they get lodged in the throat of the whale and it chokes and dies. And while this wasn't intentionally an analogy, very vivid analogy about Andy Reid being an orca whale and Vance Joseph being a blobfish, hey, if the latex suit fits, wear it. This game will include Joe Tessitore sounding like Meg Ryan in When Harry Met Sally. It will also include Jason Witten making generally no sense at all. and Booger McFarland, who's doing a damn good audition for the next Professor X. Just imagine it. That would be so great. Professor X, instead of being an English professor from England, instead of being an English professor from England, instead of being an English professor of physics, he's gonna be a former Louisiana State football player who loves catfish, but still Professor X. Hashtag Black Professor X. Coming up in a few minutes, we play Rate That Meme, but first, we have a top 10 list ribbed for your YouTube pleasure. Joshua Brisco sifted through all of your suggestions that Bill O'Brien's butt chin open up as a parking garage to find the top 10 jobs your coach would have if he wasn't your coach.
Hey, I'm Joshua Brisco, and I'm wearing this Rick and Morty hoodie so we can better appeal to the part of the WatchMojo audience that's only here for the videos about the top 10 deadliest little boys in anime. Real thing. Also, I do genuinely enjoy Rick and Morty. This week in the WatchMojo community tab, we asked you what your team's NFL head coach would be doing if he wasn't in football. Here are your top 10 best answers. Number 10, Andy Reid would be a mall Santa. This one requires no Photoshop and no imagination, which is exactly what we strive for here on What the Football. Number 9, Bill Belichick would be a porn star. This one requires both Photoshop and imagination, and I refuse to use either of those for this specific answer. Number 8, Bill Belichick again, much better this time. He looks like a DMV clerk who is also a local history buff who takes the Civil War reenactments way too seriously. This one's perfect. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, he works in a fundamentally joyless society. But on the weekends, he gets a little bit of pleasure from pretending not to know what a cell phone is whenever some tweenie bopper tries to take a picture of the sad old man dressed as a Confederate soldier. Number 7, Hugh Jackson would attempt to find cures for cancer, because in that line of work, one success every 2 years would actually be a tremendous breakthrough for society. Yes, this comment was mine. You guys weren't funny enough. Number 6, Jason Garrett would be a professional audience member because he just likes to clap it. I would have suggested that he be Jerry Jones's pool boy who never gets fired despite how many times he fails to skim the bugs off the top of the water, but that one works too. Number 5, we're gonna see what Steve Wilkes will be pretty soon. It's very good, because he's gonna get fired unless Josh Rosen saves his life. Good job, commenter. Number 4, football is association football, created in England in 1863, aka soccer. NFL is rugby with pads and forward passing. This guy is the worst. I would call this guy a troll, but he would probably point out that he is not, in fact, a dwarf or giant in Scandinavian folklore inhabiting caves or hills. I would also tell him that he should unplug for a little bit, but he would probably inform me that since he is a human being and not perhaps a computer or other electrical device plugged into an outlet, that he would not need to do such a thing. Language evolves, you caveman. Number 3, Ron Rivera would be a middle school gym teacher, but he's that teacher who tries to be fun and cool, and then the 12-year-olds learn to take advantage of it. I think this one's spectacular. Within those first few weeks of the school year, I think they figure out that if they go, "Coach Ron, I bet you can't climb that rope faster than we can," then he will successfully climb the rope faster than they can, but that whole thing will delay the start of class by about 10 minutes, serving the exact purpose from the perspective of the children. Number 2, Marvin Lewis would be either a chef or a waiter at a Mexican or Indian restaurant. No, the joke's on you. Marvin Lewis wouldn't exist without the Bengals. He is the Bengals, and the Bengals wouldn't exist without Marvin Lewis. They are Marvin Lewis. This is Marvin Lewis's divine purpose, and vice versa. Marvin Lewis and the Bengals are cosmically intertwined together for eternity. Number 1, Dan Quinn would own a Planet Fitness in Iowa who's also that parent in the stands that threatens other parents just for living. Not only is this one absolutely spectacular, I think I've met Not in Football Dan Quinn. I think Not in Football Dan Quinn coached my little brother's coach-pitched baseball team a few years back. He would repeatedly get ejected for arguing balls and strikes with the umpires. And he wore cleats, which I assume was just so he could throw them at any parents in the stands who may have been dissenting from his pure genius. That was Not in Football Dan Quinn, and he should probably be in prison. What did you think of our top 10? What did we miss? What would your head coach be doing if he wasn't in football? For me, if I wasn't making this episode of What the Football, I'd probably be on my way to a steady mid-level management job in a competent company, I probably wouldn't be living in my parents' basement. I think I'd likely be a more fulfilled person altogether. I'm Joshua Brisco, and I need to go now.
All right, guys, it's time to play Rate That Meme. As always, joining us from Kansas City, Missouri, it is Joshua Brisco, and joining us from Dallas, Texas, it is Ari Temkin. Gentlemen, are you ready to rate that meme?
Josh, you look like a less racist Mike Ditka with those sunglasses.
Thank you, Ari, for saying less racist.
Well, we'll go ahead and start, if that's okay with you guys. Browns fan tries to jump a canal, fails miserably, but he was given that confidence by his team. He was gonna make it. Rate that meme.
Is this like the Clevelander equivalency of a Cuban trying to flee to Miami?
All I took away from this is that, God, Jarvis Landry looks terrible.
All right, gentlemen, second meme here. Ryan Fitzpatrick in week 2 is Con McGregor. And Ryan Fitzpatrick in week 3 is a pantsless Zach Galifianakis. Rate that meme.
All I could say is that I hope that Ryan Fitzpatrick continues to play well so that we don't get Jameis Winston back, because the memes for Jameis are a lot less funny. Jameis Winston has more sexual assault allegations than Brett Kavanaugh.
Really quick, Ari, actually, he doesn't.
All right, next meme up. Here we have a Tampa Bay Buccaneers defender running into a wall. That wall's name is Nick Foles. That cornerback, Tom Brady. That ball, the Super Bowl. Rate that meme.
Man, TJ, I really hope he doesn't sue the league for CTE.
Whenever I saw this meme, I just saw Clay Matthews, because that wall there is big, white, hard, and didn't do anything wrong. I'm just glad that the outside of the stadium wasn't flagged for roughing anyone.
Also, a very nice Photoshop job here on Mr. Tom Brady. Mr. Brady here, number 12, but as you can see there, a dash representing their logo, representing their record. Everybody is so happy that Tom Brady is 1-2. Rate that meme.
Woo!
I'm really excited, just like Ari is, for whenever this is one of the many things that we see in the back of the Patriots locker room as they're winning the Super Bowl, popping champagne, and the champagne's getting all over this very funny meme that someone made in week 3. Yeah, 1-2. I think that ratio is going to hold up for the Patriots this year. Also, I'm an idiot and I've never watched NFL football. Yeah, it will definitely hold. Good call.
And finally, they are selling Browns We Want a Game gear. Rate that meme.
Based on Sports Illustrated releasing this did actually happen, right? This isn't an actual meme. They are releasing like DVDs and t-shirts and...
Yes, Ari. Everything on the internet is real.
Well, I mean,
all of
because
it.
I saw Cleveland explode, like the people who lived in Cleveland didn't actually live in Cleveland. That was the way it appeared that they celebrated. Like, whoa, we don't actually live in Cleveland!
Yeah, I think I'm going to let that one just sit there. TJ, thanks for having us for another episode of Rate That Meme.
Well, gentlemen, this was generally useless. You guys didn't rate anything. I would say that this is, for the most part, a waste of everyone's time. So,
I've heard that one a few
you should
times.
feel very bad about that.
No, go ahead, Ari. You go first.
I thought it was fruitful. I also thought it was fruitful, TJ.
It's not what he said, Ari. He said fruitless, and then I wanted to make a joke about how I've often been told that 5 minutes spent with me were relatively fruitless. It was a sex joke. That was the joke. Glad you got in there, though, too, Ari.